Okay, so Phil Flock from Infancinema. Welcome to Utube Conversations.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so let's get into it. The logo, Infancinema, is a pacifier, right?
Yeah.
Why?
So before filmmaking, I was in a team called Team Infancy. We used to do flips and tricks and all that kind of stuff. And everybody who was doing that in a group, they gave themselves a name like Team Insane, Team Hardcore, all that kind of stuff. But we were like so childish and goofy with that, and it was like so new to us. So we just called ourselves Team Infancy. So, and everybody was like a web designer or logo designer. So they created all these logos in the color of pink. And it was very quickly that, it was more than just a team name. It was more so like an idea to always keep your inner child awake and all that stuff. And eventually I stopped doing the sport, but I started filmmaking and I kept this spirit. So out of Team Infancy, I made Infant Cinema and I kept it till now. And this is like a 18-year-old story, so it's been around for a while.
Quite some time, quite some time. So for you to get into the acrobatics, so you got into the acrobatics before martial arts or at the same
Yeah,
time?
yeah. Basically, before YouTube wasn't even a thing. We just looked up tutorials on how to do flips, because we watched like Jackie Chan movies and whatnot, and we were like, hey, this stuff is actually possible. Let's just look up tutorials and let's go outside and try it. And so yeah, this is how we got into it. We just started with a back flip, and then we just learned a front flip, and without any instructors or anything, we just started doing that. Eventually I became an instructor, but that was like later on when I turned 18, 19.
Wow. So when you was practicing the flip, did you have the mattress outside?
No,
No? Oh,
just
wow.
on
Okay.
grass or in snow or whatever was like most convenient.
Okay. Got it. And what made you, so you started off as a hobby, right? It
Hmm.
wasn't something your parents pushed you to go do. You was just start off as a hobby with friends.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up like we didn't have much opportunity to go to school or to have, like I said, instructors to learn anything. So we just learned by doing. So that was like always my spirit. Anything I learned as a teenager or a child, I just learned by trying. Like I play the guitar, I play the piano, I do all these things not because anybody taught me to, just because I picked it up somewhere.
Okay. And any serious injuries due to,
Nothing serious, really. I broke my ankle twice, my wrist once, a couple of what is it called? When you fall on
staples?
your head, huh?
What, you talking about staples in your head?
Yeah, I tried to do a double backflip and I fell on my head, so I did like one and a half, and yeah, I got a little brain injury, but
Okay.
nothing would stay on
That
the.
sounds pretty serious, man.
But I never spent more than a day in the hospital.
Got it. Okay. So now when you say you broke your ankle, right?
Twice, yeah.
And your wrist. Did you how long did it take for you to get, do you still feel the injury of that?
I do because I'm an idiot, especially with my wrist injury. Like after a week not being able to use my arm, I was freaking out. I started doing push-ups again and working out because I was an idiot. I didn't let it recover, so I still feel it in my wrist, for example.
Got it. Okay. And now, so how long have you been into film?
2010. I visited my brother in LA. He was working here already, and I was doing videos just for fun. I was recording our tricking sessions, right? Um, so I was familiar with the process of video shooting and editing on a very amateur level, but then he brought me here to Hollywood, and he showed me around the studios and the cameras, and I was so fascinated that people could actually make a living with this. What I was doing as a hobby, people actually made a living, and it was so interesting to me because I'm from a very small village in Germany. Um, so I didn't know, hey, people have a job where people actually make money shooting videos or shooting film, and that fascinated me so much that when I came back to Germany, I just bought my first camera and I started recording short films.
Okay. And when you first start in fan cinema, did you get support from family, friends? Just when you came up with the idea of it, did you share with everybody or just went for it?
Um, I did not share with everybody because I was I was like a personal trainer at this point. This is what I was doing for a living, or a fitness instructor, or gym instructor. So I was just continuing doing my job, and I just dropped the idea here and there. Hey, I want to go to film school eventually, and my mom always supported me doing whatever I want to do for a living. And when it became more serious, like when I was like, okay, I'm going to quit my job now to pursue filmmaking full time, then was the time. Oh, how are you going to survive? You know,
So
how
yeah.
are you going to make a living? Because it's the one thing to do that in LA, where everybody pretty much is like this, compared to like a small town somewhere in Germany nobody ever heard of. This is scary for people, especially when they care about you. And lots of naysayers in my life I had to say goodbye to, because if I listened to them, I wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Yeah, like I look at, the people that even if they don't understand your journey, but if you have a friend or friends that you consider as close to you and they won't even do a share, I
Yeah.
there's so many people in the world, you just gotta move forward. Unfortunately, family, you gotta keep them, right? You don't have a choice.
Yeah, this is something I learned very quickly. The people closest to you want the least best for you, if that makes sense. They want the worst for you, in a sense of they don't want you to shine. They don't want you to dream. They want to hold you back where or they're stuck. You know, they want to do a normal. They want you to do a normal job, and so you just stay close to home. You know, you can see that with what is it, the third world countries, that families, they always they stay close together. Like when you grow up, you move in to the house next to your parents, where your grandparents used to live, and you just build your own little village and you stay together. I'm originally from Poland, and I see that, like, you get kids when you're like 20, 21, then like I said, you move into the next house and you just stay close to the family, which is basically the opposite of growing.
And one thing I found, I've always found that I get support from people that are outside of my environment. You know, the first opportunity that I got business wise was from a white person versus it just shows you that, you got to be open to more than just your surroundings.
Yeah.
Like probably got to pack up and move closer to where, um, probably the people that's going to give you that opportunity.
Yeah, most definitely, I agree with that. You never know where you can expect support from, and especially you should just stop seeking it. Because if you seek it, it's not gonna appear.
Yeah, just do the work, and as you're doing the work, you go forward, and if you're good at your craft, people gonna give you a shot. They're gonna give you that one shot, probably.
Yeah.
So you're really good at. So take me back when you was creating the I guess a corporation. You was going through that stuff. You're really good at what you do, but now, what was your biggest struggle on the business side of, because it's a business, right?
Yeah. That's the difficulty with all that. Like, as an artist, you never learn the business side. You have to learn it the hard way. So it starts as simple as how do I write an invoice? Nobody's going to teach you that.
Mm.
So it starts with that. But after that, my first big job was a commercials for banks, right? And I invoiced them after 6 months of work, and that was my first lesson. You write two invoices, one before you do the job and one after, half half. This was my first lesson. I didn't know. Second lesson is when you write an invoice and people don't pay you for your work, they don't. They just do that because you don't bother them enough. Like, if it's a big corporation or a big agency, they have thousands of invoices, and they don't pay everybody from the bets. So what you need to do is bother them. You have to be this annoying person. This is part of the job to get paid. And when you do a job like this, for me, I was a broke motherfucker. Can I say motherfucker here? I'm
You
sorry.
can, yeah.
I was broke. This was my first big job. I was working on for like 6 or 8 months in that area. So it was a big bill, and I was waiting for this money, and they didn't pay me. And at this point, I also was homeless because I couldn't afford rent anymore, which is ridiculous because I was waiting for thousands of dollars or
Mm.
euros. So that was my biggest lesson: is if you want something, don't worry about what people are going to think of you. Just bother until you get what you earned, pretty much.
So when you was homeless, right? Did you get to? I was homeless too, just so you know. Did you go through any type of emotions or like thoughts of just actually quitting?
Um, no, I never thought of quitting. When I decided to pursue this career, for me, it was like 100%. I never did any side jobs. That was like my most important rule for myself. After graduating film school, I decided I'm not going to do any side jobs anymore. And that pushed me into a lot of trouble. I never regret it though, because this is just part of the journey. When you distract yourself with side jobs, you might make it eventually, but it's going to take way longer. Me personally, I need this pressure of, oh shit, I have to do this. I have to find work, otherwise I'm going to starve to death, literally.
Yeah, it got to it got to me to a point where if I don't complete this, literally, like, wow, I'm not gonna have dinner. So it was a lot of pressure to make sure it's absolutely perfect, so that I can receive they can make the payment to the invoice. So, I know in your industry, programs, equipment is very expensive, right?
Yeah.
Did you have a struggle trying to make sure you have like, did you have a job to do, but at that time you couldn't afford the program for, to complete it?
That I never had issues with because I grew, my task grew with my equipment. Everything grew gradually together. So my first camera was shit, but it was good enough for the low paid clients. And eventually my gear got better. So my clients got better. But I was never in the situation where I can't do this job because I don't have the right software. I don't have the right gear. Because if I didn't, I would just rent it out. This is how it works in the industry. If you don't have it yourself, you just rent it out. And so you can't charge for your equipment. This is the nice thing. If you have equipment, you can always charge for it. But if you don't have it, you just rent it out somewhere else. And this is okay too. But I never had the issue where I couldn't do something because of lack of gear.
Got it. Okay, okay. So, to people that's trying to become a filmmaker, um, I know you already said that one of your biggest lessons is to do the invoice, right? Twice, right? That's for business. You got to invoice them before you go over it. They have to pay you before you even start. Like contractors, they got to pay you so you can buy the tools. You're not gonna put the tools out of your own pocket. It comes from them. So, what lesson would you, besides the invoicing, is there another like big lesson you've learned that people that are new coming in, you think they should pay attention to?
Um, I have two suggestions for people who are starting out and for people who are doing that for longer. In the beginning, you have to realize that you're doing this profession because you love your art. And one of the biggest lessons I can only remind myself of is that even though you work for clients, this is going to get old. And the sooner you realize that, the better, because working for clients is awesome. I love shooting commercials for big companies or feature film, whatever it is. I love doing that. It's way better than waiting or sucking cock for money. But you started doing art for a reason, because you have some kind of inspiration, some kind of vision you want to create, right? And eventually you will realize, hey man, I've been doing all this work, and 5 years later I didn't make it any further in my personal art and my personal craft, and eventually it's gonna catch up with you. And my best suggestion or tip is always keep working on your own stuff. Otherwise, you're just gonna get stuck, and eventually you're just gonna be the videographer or the filmmaker for a dozen of other people. You're gonna make other people rich, other people famous, but you will not get anything out of it for yourself.
Wow. So let me ask you, right? What was the Was there a particular project that you done that really put you on the level that you need? Like, this project was what you needed to kind of start climbing up the ladder.
I would say the well, in Germany it was the commercial I mentioned earlier. That was like what brought me into the commercial industry. In LA, the first project I came here for was for Oculus for Facebook, um, an action commercial. It was like my first job here, um, because then it was just like you know an avalanche. It just came more through that. Like I got this job here. I didn't speak any English back then. That was the crazy part. It was very hard to communicate with casting
Yeah.
crew. Um, but then on set, I met this person who actually also spoke German, who was working on a Netflix film. Back then, I was like, "What is Netflix?" I didn't know because we didn't have that in Germany.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Um, a Netflix film called Bright with Will Smith. Maybe you're familiar. Um,
Yes. Yes, I am. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so they needed someone to do visual effects, which I was doing too. So, or I am doing too. So it's like, how long is that going to take? He was like, around 3 months, and I was already 3 months here. Um, then I had to decide, hey, do I really want to stay another 3 months in the country, like while I have like an apartment and everything back home? Um, but I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. Let's try. And because I made this decision, while I was working on that, I was working on a VH1, what is it, a reality show
Oh
as a
wow. Okay.
cinematographer. So like one came to the other, and eventually it slowed down too. But in the beginning, I was like, okay, this is the place to be for me because it worked out for me.
Was there an opportunity you saw that you didn't take that you kind of regret? You know.
No. I'm a yes man. I always take any opportunity. Not anymore. Now I'm very picky with my clients. Because this is another rule which I mentioned earlier. I have one for beginners, one for advanced people. My most important, valuable tip is don't work with assholes. This is very, very important in any industry, but especially in our industry. You have to deal with so many negative people. People just try to drag you down or hate their lives. You don't want to surround yourself with that, especially put yourself under them because they're clients, so you work for them, right? Um, so, no, I had to say no to many opportunities, especially lately, but that is okay. The important jobs I always took, even though the pay was shitty or it wasn't paid at all. Obviously, I had to do lots of work like this too, just to create opportunities for myself, and definitely regret many of those. I work with many creators, Instagram people, social media people who are, first of all, assholes. Second of all, they just take advantage of you and your gear and your knowledge. Um, Lots of those people, especially in LA. But I can't say that I regret missing out on opportunities.
Okay. So when it was an opportunity that you felt you can optimize from, you definitely went for it.
Yeah.
Got it. So you did a short film, Dragon Ball Evolution, right?
Yeah, that is. It wasn't really planned to be a short film. We started out with Instagram skits. That was back then when Instagram was still hot, and I wanted to jump on the train. So I
Yeah.
started with like 60-second skits, like basically Dragon Ball in real life. I was doing visual effects as a child. We always played Kamehameha and whatever. And why not bring that into my adulthood and making little skits out of it? So I took my friend Aramis Merlin. He's also German. He's a YouTuber, and we made little skits, and that got more, and I put more work into it, and eventually I decided, okay, I'm gonna make actually a web series out of it. And every time I work on a web series, I always have the thought in the back of my head, I want to stitch it together when it's done, so I have actually a film. So it's not planned as a film, so if I never finish the web series, um, it still works as a good short film, but I definitely have cool episodes. That is always my goal, because you know how it is. You put time into something, then you work on something, but something else comes up, so you have to stop working on it. So that's why this short film is only what is it, 60 minutes long, and it's
Okay,
not like
57
a
minutes, yeah, hour.
full feature film. There is still, the story is not completed, but eventually, if there's more budget, I'm going to finish this web series, and then I have like a full feature film.
Did you
And
have fun doing
interesting
that?
enough, that all those little mini episodes, they didn't get any engagement. But then when I actually called it Dragon Ball Evolution 2, that get traction on YouTube, which is very interesting. I'm not a YouTuber, I'm a filmmaker. So any 1,000 views on YouTube, I'm very grateful for.
Got it. Did you have film shooting that?
Say again?
Did you have fun shooting Dragon Ball
No,
Evolution? No. Okay.
I shot it all on my own gear, on my own time. I don't think I spent any money on it really.
Okay. So you're not into Dragon Ball the franchise, right?
I'm into the series. I love Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z,
Okay. Okay.
GT not so much. Dragon Ball Super was funny. Yeah, I'm into that, but yeah.
Professionally, you rather okay, got it. Get paid, right? So what motivates you to keep creating content? Because you do a lot of martial arts content as well, right?
Yeah, so my biggest motivation is, like I said earlier, to keep working on your own craft, to create the kind of content you are into, which is, to me, is action comedy short films. If I could do anything in the world, it doesn't matter if I get paid or not. This is what I would do. You can give me $5 million a year, doesn't matter. This is what I'm gonna do. I'll be broke. This is what I'm gonna do anyway. So this is what I love doing. I'm always going to do that, creating action comedy short films. Like more recently, I started doing like more tutorial videos where I can teach other creators how to do certain things, because over 10 years of experience, I know the thing or the other, and I feel like your knowledge is only as much worth as you share with others, right? And YouTube is a great platform where you can do that, where people can get knowledge for free. And I got my knowledge for free too. I mean, I spent time on it, and I did go to film school where I didn't learn as much as I would have liked to. But yeah, I do have a certain kind of knowledge, and I like to share it with others.
What is your biggest pet peeve when you're filming for content creators, besides the ones that's not too kind?
Uh, well, no respect for the creator is a big one. On lots of sets, most of sets where I go to, people don't even say hi to me because I don't have the following, so I won't receive any respect. This is a big pet peeve, but that is also an ego thing. I can get over it very quickly. Another one is punctuality, that people are just not too late. Even if people are not getting paid to be there, I still would like to get a phone call. Hey, I'm not going to come, or I'm going to be late. Too many shoots happen where people are late, or they're not coming at all, and there's like no message. And this is what I hate about social media, that people are not professional. That wouldn't happen on a Netflix set. This is like the only reason why I still enjoy working on not social media stuff, on like I don't want to say real projects, but on film projects or video games. Yeah, that wouldn't happen there.
Yeah, if you don't have that type of discipline, you won't get those Netflix deals. Because like people like Tyler Perry, they don't play that. You got
Yeah,
to be early, not
yeah,
on time. You got to be early.
yeah.
So um, do you ever run out of ideas when you're creating your films?
No, I never run out of ideas. I run out of time. I don't have enough time to create all of my ideas, because my short films, compared to the skits I shoot for, like El Hashidi, Kinira, all those people, those are very quickly shot, very quickly edited. Takes, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours to create an entire skit. For me, on the other hand, Dragon Ball Evolution, this is 60 minutes long, but that took over a year to create. Or any one of my short films take 2 3 weeks to create, even though it's just 5 6 minutes long, because the fight has to be choreographed, because the muzzle flashes have to be done with visual effects, explosions, whatever it is. The edits just take way longer than other skits, so I will never run out of ideas because I can't work that fast. without a team. If I had a big team of 20 people, create one short film after the other, 2 short films a week or so, then I might run out of ideas in 2 months or so. But that's not going to happen. And plus, there's ideas anywhere with this kind of content. It can be anything. Like a guy can have get interviewed, and then suddenly he gets a weird message on his phone, and then he has to react to it, and then you can basically create an idea out of this. It's like ideas are everywhere, and basically everything is a remake anyway. So I can just, if I really run out of ideas, I just take this film idea, I take this film idea, mix it together, and create something new out of it.
Wow, especially if you still have the passion and you love it, your focus, you're always gonna come up with something, right?
Most definitely.
Um, what project have you worked on that you're really proud of? Like, even if there wasn't that much money into it, but something you worked on, you're like, wow, I'm happy I did that.
um Well, it is cool as a filmmaker to work on a video game. Plus, a video game I really like myself. I worked on 2 Call of Duty games now. I did the animation, like those cinematic intros and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay.
I animated those, and I'm very proud of that because that was like my first LA experience where I worked in an office with other professionals, and
Oh
it
wow.
was such a great workflow. Plus my name's in the credits, so this is always a cool thing.
Mm.
Like um I'm very proud of that because it just shows how much you can create if you just have other professionals around you. If nobody knows what they're doing and you just try to get it done, it has its pros and cons too. But what I'm saying is having your name on such a great project, plus being in an office where I played Call of Duty games or Treyarch games like my entire life. I saw their logo when I was still shitting into diapers. There was, and now I'm in the office. I see all those guns on the walls, and this was just a cool feeling. And I've never thought that I could actually make it to Hollywood, work on those cool projects. This is like a dream come true, right? On the other hand, this I would never be as that proud of that, like compared to something I created myself, a short film I've written myself. For example, I recently finished a short film called "Taking a Bullet." Um, and I shot this thing 5 years ago, 4 years ago, when I came to LA. I never finished it because I was always so intimidated by the edits. Not that it's complicated, just because I know it's a masterpiece. It's a 3-minute masterpiece. It's funny. It's on point. It's like Naked Gun humor. Basically, it's about 2 guys who fight over. Hey, I would totally take a bullet for you if something happened. No, I would take a bullet for you, and then they fight over who is the better friend, pretty much, right? And then a mugger appears and shoots at them, and then they jump in front of each other while the bullet travels. For like a minute straight. And it's just funny. Um, and a project like this is what makes me happy. This is why I became a filmmaker, to create those, even if it's stupid, even if it's silly. I love this kind of storytelling, and this is like the projects I'm most proud of. Didn't make me any money, zero to be. But hey, it's not about the money in the end. It's about the art.
Do you ever look back at some of your work when you're trying to, I guess, like if you're trying to improve yourself? Is there anything you go back to reference? Like I remember when I did that I want to try to mimic that, but do a little bit better.
Yeah, I mostly, when I look back, it's like I can tell my equipment got better. I still have the same style like 10 years ago. I still see like, okay, this is a cool angle. This is okay. I still do that, and I every time when I watch like older films, I can really tell by what they were inspired by, what director, what movie did I just watch where this happened, and this is just very interesting to see. It's like a diary, really. When I watch my old stuff, I watch it and it's like, okay, I just watched some Edgar Wright movie, Shaun of the Dead or whatever, and this is that kind of storytelling. Or Matrix. This is inspired by that, and so yeah. And my filmmaking skills, my storytelling skills only improved in a matter of equipment, really, and the timing. The timing when what happened, even if it's like a look. Somebody knocks at the door, and he could look right away. He could look 3 seconds later, but the right timing in small things like that matters. And this is something I learned over the years. The timing is way more important than most things in editing, for example. And that has definitely improved, and that's nice to see. But still, I watched a short film from like a year ago, like very recently, and it's like, okay, that and that could have been better. And then it's like I'm amazed that I didn't see it then.
Okay. Are you a vegan?
No,
Okay.
I'm
Do you
quite the
go around
opposite.
beating up people that's non-vegan?
Well, that's the thing. I make fun of anybody and everything, right?
Yeah, I'm joking. Yeah.
So when I see someone is vegan, I'm definitely going to make fun of that, because especially when you're vegan for the wrong reasons. Vegan for the wrong reasons to me is health, because it's not healthy at all. But if you're like vegan because you want to save the world, I respect that. I don't agree because you're not going to save shit, but I respect that because it's a good thought. But especially when it comes to health and the fitness industry, everybody is that expert these days, right?
Yeah.
And if I know a personal trainer, she is focused on veganism, and she just got paralyzed in her spine because she was vegan, and she had a
Oh wow.
B12 deficit. And this is obviously nobody knows about that, because that kind of stuff you have to keep to yourself if you're a vegan personal trainer. Um, but that stuff happens if you have a very extreme diet. My diet is very extreme too, right? I do this snake diet, where you only eat 2-3 meals a week. That is very extreme too, and but I do balance that when I feel like, okay, I'm losing too much weight right now. I'm gonna increase my eating frequency and eat 1 meal a day or so. So you just
Wow.
have
2 or 3 meals in a week?
I was crazier than that. Like my least, I was like 9 days without food, and four of
What,
those days were without water.
why is that?
When you fast, your body gets into like um, a recycle mode. Basically, it's called autophagy, and basically your body eats itself. If you don't give it nutrition, let's say you don't eat or drink for 2 days straight, your body still needs energy, right? To feed your organs, to breathe, to heartbeat, and to walk around. So if you don't give it nutrition, it doesn't get any calories. So it needs to get the calories from somewhere. So what it does, gets all the fat resources your body has, but doesn't need. If your body has fat, I just assume you have body fat. If you don't have body fat, different question. But if you do have body fat, which is true for most people, it takes the body fat, breaks it down into calories, into water to feed the organs. And that way, I can not eat for a week or longer without passing out.
Wow, you can still do your exercises and your work and everything, right?
No problem.
Do you take vitamins,
No,
pills?
no.
Oh, got it. Okay, okay,
It's
okay.
all without supplements. The only supplement you really need is electrolytes, like sodium and potassium. Because without electrolytes, you're gonna feel like shit. But no vitamins, no protein powder, because you get all this stuff from the few meals you get eventually, and from
Oh,
your, like I said, from your body fat you have already.
wow. Yeah, I brought up the vegan topic because I know you did a film, Vegan Warfare, right?
Vegan warfare, yeah. So that was inspired by I lived in Berlin, and Berlin is in many ways like Los Angeles. So everybody's vegan, and that was just funny because I grew up from in a village. Like vegan people are just hilarious to us. We've seen them on TV, but I've never met one in person. But then suddenly I'm in Berlin and everybody's vegan, and it's like I have all those conversations like hey, vegan is healthier. No, carnivore is better. And like I said, everybody is an expert, and everybody pretends to be so uh, uh, tolerant, right? You can do whatever you want. I don't judge you, but in the end, they do judge you. Vice versa. It doesn't matter on which side you are. Um, so I created this little silly action comedy called Vegan Warfare, where a carnivore physically fights a vegan, and they try to put like cucumbers or sausages in each other's mouth. So it's like little gay, what is it, gay comedy as well. Like I said, I make fun of everything. I make fun of gays, straights, black people, white people, anything. And many people hate me for that. And I broke up friendships over that. But in the end, it's comedy. And if you don't like it, you don't have to watch it. Um, but yeah, people are very sensitive, especially these days. And you can't make fun of anything anymore. And as long as I breathe, I try to not be part of this, let's call it movement.
Cancel culture, right?
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I figured, I think what it is that um as long as you stay true to your beliefs, it's gonna phase out. There's certain groups like Nation of Islam, um, what they don't believe in, you're not gonna question them. You're not even gonna speak on it. You just move on, right? And other religions as well. So yeah, I mean, comedy is outside. Comedy, there's no everyone gets made fun of. No one's you know. So listen,
The
right?
problem
So
with that is just I'm a straight white man, so I have to be in America. I have to be very careful what I make fun of because I'm just in the majority, right? So I can't just make fun of a gay man. I can't just make fun of women. I can't just make fun of black, Hispanic, whatever, because it's going to look very bad on me. And I have to be very careful, but I don't want to be careful. This is art. I want to make people laugh. I want to make them angry. And the beautiful thing about me being a director or a writer or whatever it is I do, I'm behind the camera and I can put words in other people's mouths. So I'm not the one saying them, right? So this is like good for me. But then I don't know. Like I said, I broke up friendships over what's anti-feminist jokes. I made this little Instagram video where how women are supposed to work out. So I had this bench, and there was like a towel on the bench. I was having a dumbbell. I was
and
pretending
use and
ironing
use
the
iron. Yep, I saw it.
exactly like women workout. And
Yeah.
but so many people got offended, women or men. And I can't
Wow.
just say it's just a joke because that's not good enough for people. Um, but I make just
It
as
was
many.
funny. Yeah.
I think it's funny, but people want to get offended. And I also make fun of straight white men. We are stupid too. Everybody's. Uh, we can make fun of everything, but we're not allowed to anymore. And that's the sad part because I do action comedy, and it goes into a direction where it has to be very politically correct. And at some point, it's just not. It's not going to be funny anymore.
No, not at all. So
Dave Chappelle's special was a very good example.
yeah, and that's so he didn't get canceled because he's Dave Chappelle, but they really fought really hard. So imagine if it was someone really smaller, which is crazy. The stand up comedy is really um unfiltered, very, very much unfiltered. Stand up comedy has always been very disrespectful, in a very funny way. So for a lot of people and the whole thing with this cancel culture, that's not in the real world, right? Like real people that I deal with, I speak, they don't get offended like that. It's more so that Hollywood, um, the agendas they push out, right? So, but listen, right? So one of the first videos on YouTube, maybe that's not the first video you upload, but that's the first available video to watch. It's called Low Blow Girl Fights Back, 2011.
Yeah, that's the thing. I just changed the name. There wasn't the original title. The original title was Soggy Dream.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I just made a short film once, which actually was called Low Blow, and that got like 100,000 views, which is a lot, like probably one of the most viewed videos I've ever made. And then I just looked in the analytics. Why did it get so many views? And people look for the term low blow. Not
Mm.
people like you and me, but there's some people out there who look for this term. So I realized, hey, every time I have a girl in a video, I should just call a girl low blow, and then it's gonna get views. So that was just a trick, really, to get views. Not nothing I'm very proud of, because it doesn't really help you in the long run, like algorithm wise, because people click on your video and they don't get what they actually expect, because they expect a girl getting kicked in the hoo-ha, which
Yeah.
is not happening in most of those videos. Just in the original one, this is what happened. Like a girl got kicked in the hoo-ha, and they were like twisting each other's nipples. It was a fight scene, right? So I called it low blow. Successful video again, but then like I said, I started naming most of my videos just low blow, just for the clicks of it. But in the end, it doesn't really matter, because with those tricks, you might get more views, but it's not going to help you in the long run.
Yeah, plus at that time YouTube wasn't paying, right? You can have 1 million views. They're not monetizing you, right? At that time.
Um, at this time, no. I think I started the monetization process was way simpler back then than it is now. Back then, I think 2012 or 13 is when they started it. You could monetize from your first view. It was very simple.
Wow.
Everybody could monetize. They stopped doing that eventually, so they could crank up the money uh, per mil. They could crank up the CPR, but not everybody could monetize anymore. So, and nowadays, it's like you have to have 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 hours of watch time. So they have the first filter of monetization.
Oh wow. So let me ask you, right? Should real guns be used on movie sets?
Yeah, that was a big one for me. Um,
Yeah, I know.
that was in a long time. That was the first video I where I spoke from my heart. I was so angry when I heard what happened, and then because I am on a lot of stunt sets, right? Lots of action sets, and there's always guns lying around. Most of them fake, or airsoft guns, but sometimes I just see people handling those guns, and I've learned, even though I'm not a tactical professional when it comes to weapons, but I know the basics. I've learned, doesn't matter if it's a real gun or a fake gun, you treat it as if it was a loaded gun, and you just don't aim it at someone and shoot, right? Doesn't matter if it's a water gun or a real gun. Um, so, in my opinion, this is like also a little political, because this is like America for you right there. Because everybody who puts like a month of work, it doesn't matter what state you're in, you can get a real gun in your hands, and which is super super dangerous, right? And in an environment like this, treating guns on set as if they were toy guns, this is just very dangerous. And then people die because of that. There's many great good way there's many good reasons for someone to die. There is some um honorable reasons, but by accident on set, doing your work, this is bullshit.
A film that everyone knows is not real anyway, right? The film is
Yeah,
not real. So
yeah. So I started making those YouTube tutorials, like I said, or advice videos, and I usually try to keep like political stuff out of it, but that was just a big one. And I wish I was like a big creator, who people actually listen to, with influence and whatnot, because I feel like this was an important message I had to say there. And I don't have lots of important stuff to say. Most of what is coming out of my mouth is just bullshit, but that was important. And the funny thing is, the day after I uploaded this video, I saw The Rock saying, uh, none of my sets are going to use real guns anymore. So
oh wow.
obviously not because of what I did, but
You never know, right?
people do agree with this statement, which makes me happy that I'm not by myself with that. And I hope people just stop using real guns on set. Period.
I thought after Brandon Lee, I didn't. I thought they stopped using real guns after Brandon Lee. I'm thinking, okay, the guns are not real. You know,
That's the thing. You never know. Why is there still a gun? What is it called? Gun specialists, weapon specialist. What's the name? What's the term?
where
There's
they
still
check to see
some.
the ammunition. Yeah,
Yeah. So I don't know, man. This is like to add those visual effects, gun effects is like so easy. It's like takes me a minute. So what the fuck, Hollywood?
and then with Hollywood, I know you was pointing out that's what you showing how you can easily animate or add the effects of shooting. Now imagine Hollywood with the most expensive equipment, they can really make it look like real fire shots, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I did on Bright as well. On Bright, they didn't use real guns. So on the scene I was working on, I don't know if you remember, it was the in the strip club, the gun shootout scene. This is where I added those gun effects, and those were not real. And especially when it's like interior, this is like mostly more work to do it with visual effects as opposed to practical because fire out of the guns, they throw light on everything, and all that has to be animated in post. So I don't know who made this decision to do that in post. I'm obviously grateful for it because that gave me a job, but also it's safer.
Yeah, and one thing I know in your field, you definitely don't want to be you definitely don't want someone getting shot during your film.
Yeah.
You know,
Plus, it's like people and people think on the outside world, hey, those actors, they should know how to use a gun. They should know how to differ a fake gun from a real gun. But no, they shouldn't. An actor, this is not an actor's job. This is not a producer's job. This is like so down the line somebody's job. Somebody fucked up. But that's the thing. An actor, this is just such a ridiculous statement. I had fights over this. Like, how can he not know it's a real gun he's firing? No, this is not his job to identify that.
he's an actor. His job is like you said to remember the lines,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's like I would ask, I don't know, a construction worker, hey, do you know how to set up the white balance on the camera? No, because it's not your job to do a thing like this.
Yeah, it's like if someone's playing in a movie as a construction worker, they're acting. They don't really know how to build.
Yeah, you don't know how to use power tools because it's not your job. Know the basics. If you have to handle something like that and it's a real power tool, then you have to get proper training beforehand, right?
Beforehand, yep. So, um, let me ask you, right? Who would you consider the closest to you?
Let's say my brother. My
Okay, so let's go with your brother, right?
Yeah,
So, God forbid, right? God forbid he passed away today.
yeah.
What is one thing you would regret that you didn't get a chance to do, or you wish you'd done more of, or even said?
I would love. That was always my dream, and I hope he's not gonna watch this interview because it's actually a secret. I want to buy him his dream motorcycle,
Oh, okay,
and
okay, yeah.
because he's the one who's done most for me. It's like support wise for my career. He's always the one go for it, and financially I could never repay him, and this is like the one thing I always wanted to do for him. Then again, I hope he's not gonna watch that because January is his birthday. I tried to afford it back by then, but probably not going to be this year. It's probably going to be the year after.
Oh, wow. Okay, okay. So, would you rather have love or respect?
I don't give a fuck about respect. I get disrespected so much, and sometimes I even
Okay.
try hard. No,
Mm.
I don't give a fuck about respect.
So I think it's love.
Yeah, I have lots of love to give, and I love to receive love. Respect is, I feel like it feeds your ego, and I try to stay away from ego.
Would you rather get stranded on Antarctica or a desert?
Antarctica. I love nature, and
Mm.
I think I would survive longer.
It's cold, man.
I'm a white skin though, I'm very I grew up in those environments. Like if I didn't have a pool right now, I would die in Los Angeles.
Okay. Okay, so you're more of a winter person, right? or in between kind of?
Yeah, obviously in between like anybody else. But for
Yeah.
example, I just came back from Oregon and we just spent a week in a cabin in a
Yeah, I know you did like a
jacuzzi.
little vlog, right?
Yeah, exactly. So in the snow, I do love that, but I can't do that forever. Obviously, it's sometimes time to come back to the desert.
So listen, right? So 2022 is not far away. What can your supporters expect from you?
I started this year with creating two YouTube videos a week. I'm going to continue doing that until I die or my YouTube channel blows up, whatever comes first. Um, I've been creating two short films a week, two short films a month, and I would love to continue that. But probably is gonna go down with the frequency and up with the quality, because I'm realizing, man, even if you keep creating so much content, it doesn't guarantee you success. And I hate to find myself doing something just for the quantity. I don't want to do that anymore. It's okay for my personal YouTube channel because I also hired help. I hired an editor who helps me with that stuff, which is a bold move if you think about it. I'm not making any money with that stuff. And I'm paying someone to help me with that. This is like a big investment. So I'm gonna definitely continue creating content, but I'm gonna crank up the quality and probably go down with the quantity. But definitely content is coming. Lots of content. Good stuff.
And how would you like your supporters to support you?
Oh man, I everything I'm receiving, I want the same. Just maybe on the bigger scale. I have like my core audience are 5, 6 people, right? Like people who are always in the comments, always supporting, sending DMs, telling me how cool the videos are, or are always in the live stream. 4, 6 people. I know it's nothing. Other creators you interview probably have thousands of those, right? Um, but if I can keep those 6 people, have 10 or 100 times more of those, that and who always send me nice messages and are always in the comments, always in the DMs. That's all I need. And a few Patreons won't hurt either. A little
Yeah.
cash always helps. But that is not even necessary if my channel's monetized and I get the views, then I don't need that anymore. But right now it really helps. Like I have one person who sends me $10 per month through PayPal every single month since I started creating. And
Oh
so
wow.
and it might not be a lot, but I'm very grateful for that. And that's the funny thing. Other people, they get that kind of money or 10 times as much, and they don't even realize. I talked to a content creator. She has the OnlyFans. Eventually she put out some pictures, forgot about it, and eventually she was like, oh, I'm going to check what's going on in my OnlyFans. She just made $6,000 and she had no idea.
Wow.
Yeah, and I don't want to be like that. I want to
Yeah.
appreciate every single one of my people.
No, absolutely. So, content creator wise, who's your favorite content creator you work? I mean, obviously you deal with a lot of them, right? But who is your go-to you like to work with the most?
Well, mostly I work with LH. We LH TV. We are pretty much exclusive. He doesn't hire other shooters, and I don't really shoot for other creators unless it's under LH TV Entertainment.
Oh,
So
okay.
we work exclusively together, and I'm very happy with that because like I said earlier, man, content creators, social media people, they're so unprofessional, and I don't want to deal with none of them. So I'm very happy to work with El Hatch because he does the producing. He deals with all the bullshit behind the set. And I just have to show up, make sure the pictures look good. Because I'm a cinematographer for him. I'm not a writer. I'm not a director. I just make sure the story's been told as good as possible through the images and efficiently. I have his back, he has my back, and that works great. And I love this guy. When I met him 2 or 3 years ago, man, he was a boy. He didn't know what he wanted, how he would get there, but he figured out, and I have never seen anyone growing up that fast. That's very impressive. He is a good guy.
I remember when I first started seeing him coming around, man, like a good 3 years. He's been consistent for being consistent for 3 years. Is a long time. Consistent new ideas, and he's been really, really consistent, outworking a lot of people,
Hmm.
So, congratulations and hats off to him. Who would you like to work with, or what kind of maybe not a content creator, but like I guess I don't know what you call him, like a director. Like who would you like? What type of who would you like to work with? Tyler Perry, or something like that.
Yeah, it's probably Jackie Chan. He well, Jackie Chan from 20 years ago, actually, because he's not doing what he used to, because he grew up now, so he doesn't have to do. He's not that hands on anymore. But back in the days when I watched behind the scenes videos, how he's creating the fight choreographies, how he's doing the action
He's
comedy is
really
so inspiring.
involved, right?
Yeah, very involved. Sometimes he took the camera from the camera operator to shoot those things himself. So that is very inspiring, and the fact that he is most in most of his own stuff, that doesn't do much for me. I mean, it's cool, but I don't need to be the star of my own movies. I like to have a cameo here and there, like in my last action short film, Only Friends. I had like 2 seconds where I was just knocking at the wall. I was taking a shit. I had like my pants down, like a funny cameo. It was like,
Yeah.
"Hey, be quiet" or whatever. So I don't need to be the star of my own movies, right? He does like the attention, so that I don't need that much. But when it comes to like social media, I really admire like Peter McKinnon, Manny Hapoya. They're the two filmmaker, photographer, YouTubers from Canada. I don't know if you're familiar. Like the way they tell their stories through vlogs, how they do their tutorials, and all this tech reviews. I'm really inspired by that, and without them, I wouldn't be doing my own YouTube stuff like this, like talking to the camera like this. I wasn't very confident doing all these things. I still am not, but I'm learning because I do love teaching. I do love talking about filmmaking, so might as well putting on camera and maybe making some money with it. But yeah, Peter McKinnon is a big one. I would love to meet him. I mean, I don't necessarily have to work with him, because his workflow, my workflow, pretty much identical. We're both professional filmmakers, so we wouldn't learn that much from each other, right? But definitely would like to sit down, drink some
Cup of
coffee, hang
coffee,
out.
right? Have a great
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah.
Wow. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, okay, I'm gonna put you in what's called the hot seat. Okay. So the hot seat, I'm gonna ask you a question or statement. You just answer in one word. Ready?
Oh, give me a second. Okay. Man, I'm German, okay? English is not my first language, so. Ooh, okay.
What state you don't want to live in?
Idaho.
Heads or tails?
Heads.
Family.
Unnecessary.
Okay. um, when it comes to self-defense, punch, will you use your hands or your legs?
Hands.
Money.
Love it.
Homeless people.
Unnecessary.
America's current state.
Weak.
Would you rather if you had to choose, would you rather get punched in the face or kicked in the balls?
Punch in the face.
YouTube or Instagram?
YouTube.
If there was a war in America, who will win? East Coast or West Coast?
West Coast.
Winter.
Nice.
Summer.
Hot.
It's free.
Life.
Thanksgiving or Christmas?
Thanksgiving.
How to go to heaven?
Fuck. Don't curse. Be kind. Be kind is my answer.
Okay, God. The meaning of your last name to you, like your legacy.
I won't have a legacy. I live in the moment.
So if you can go in the past to let's say a 20-year-old version of yourself, let's say 15-year-old version of yourself, what advice would you give yourself?
Continue doing what you're doing. You're doing everything right.
Oh, one word.
Continue.
And this interview.
It was fun. Fun.
Okay.